Hey, everybody, I am Dr. Greg Persley, and I'm hosting another episode of Fix Your BS, where BS stands for belief systems, as well as business systems and balance sheets, because we all have to deal with the five major categories of life: relationships, money, career or business, health, belief. And what we're going to do is we find the most amazing people on the internet that are absolutely crushing it in one or more of those pillars. And we try to get you the steps, the strategies, the tactics that they've used to become so successful in one or more of those areas. And we have, once again, done just that. Today, we are bringing in Brittni Schroeder. She is a certified life and business coach that helps female entrepreneurs launch and level up their businesses. So I'm so excited to have you on today, Brittni, because I love that you're very focused on the female entrepreneur, and I love the specific person that you're trying to help. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because you know, entrepreneurship generally has been male dominated. People think about males, oh, they're the entrepreneurs, but I have spoken to so many female entrepreneurs and business owners that are just absolutely killing it. So I'm interested to see how you got into that and get a little history from you.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
Well,
So I guess, yeah, I
thank you
guess
for
to
being
start
here.
about, yeah, I guess to start like my entrepreneur story, I guess. I'm one of those who went to college and got a degree in something that I'm not doing, like a lot of people, I guess. But I wanted to be a mom. That was like my main thing that I wanted to do. And I always wanted to have something though. I like to keep busy and um I had a bunch of little side hustles, just things here and there, just for like extra cash. And this kind of ages me because when I had my second child, was when blogging was really starting to take off, and lots of people were blogging. And of course, it's blogging was very visual, and so then I realized I need to learn how to take good pictures. That's how you have a good blog. And so I got a DSLR camera for Mother's Day and I just started learning. And I then a few months later, I started a photography business. And I'm like, I want to do this as a career. People start asking you to take pictures. And at first you're like, this is fun. And then you realize like, okay, this is my time. And so I want to get paid for it. And you're investing and so I was a photographer and I did that. I did high school senior photography actually for 8.5 years. Well, closer to 10 years. But that was kind of where it started. And I always tell people, I was really good at, usually when you're a photographer, you're a creative. You're creative, but the business part, a lot of creatives struggle with the business portion of it. And I'm very left-brained. I'm very analytical. And the business part came really easy to me. It was the creative, the photography part that I had to work a little harder at. It was
All
to
right,
really,
I want to stop you there, and I hate to interrupt, but I'm going to do that from time to time because that right there, what you just said, is the direct opposite. So I am a business consultant as well,
yeah.
and you are obviously a business coach as well. And what's very interesting about that is I normally have experienced the opposite with my consultant clients. They are really good at the thing that they know how to do: chiropractors,
Yeah.
dentists, photographers, um, artist in some way, shape, or form, but the business side they don't
Oh, yeah.
realize is a totally different skill set. So talk to me for a second about that, because you having this artistry that you're good at, but you
Yeah.
were more apt to the business side. That's interesting. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, like I said, I've always been more left brain. I'm very analytical. Math and science and those things were like my favorite subjects in school. And I'm organized and I do spreadsheets for fun. That kind of just tells you a little bit more about me, but I'm just very organized. And I think, and money, that is something too. I've always been really good with like money and budgeting and systems and stuff like that. And so that part came really easy to me, and the organizational stuff, and it doesn't come easy for a lot of people. And it's interesting that you said that about you know like having, we see this a lot of times in any private practice, like chiropractors, doctors, or anything, is they are good at what they do, but they're not good at the business part. And so it gets kind of tricky, and kind of my advice to that is, yes, I think you should know enough about business that you can manage somebody else. But I also believe in like delegate, automate, eliminate things in your life that are not your strengths. We should delegate what we're not good at. But the caveat is understanding enough that you can manage people on it. But so I think like just understanding, like I've always been really organized. I make checklists. I'm like that. And so the business part of it was really like it came very natural to me. And it's basically just being organized and creating automations and systems in your business. And so
It's
yeah, that
interesting though, because that sounds so easy. So what you're explaining is working on the business instead of in the business.
yeah,
And I have had so many people over the years come to me and go, I've heard this working on the business thing, but I don't understand. I like don't know where to start.
yeah.
So is that something that you have when people come to you and you work with them in their business? Is that something that you deal with?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm big on systems because I feel like what happens with entrepreneurs is they have this really great idea and they're making money and they're good at what they do, but then sometimes they can't really scale. They can't grow because they're only doing like you're only like one person and there's only a certain amount of hours in the day that you can do something. And so if you don't have some systems and automations set up, you're spending hours doing these repetitive tasks, and that's how people really get burnt out. And so it really is setting up systems. And I think people do the opposite. They get their business, they start growing it, and then they're like, oh dang, like I need a system, I need automations, I need something. I can't keep doing this. And that's why we see a lot of burnout with especially like entrepreneurs. There's a huge, like, I mean, small
Well,
businesses
they get
do not
stuck
last
doing
very
the tasks that they don't like to do and don't get excited about and don't light them up. They're like pushed into the side. Like they started the business like you, photography, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden it's invoicing and it's paying
yeah,
bills and it's, marketing and sales. And you're like, dude, I just want to take the photos. What the heck
yeah,
happened?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so how does someone identify and become self-aware of what their strengths within their business is in order to be able to fill those holes? I mean, is there a process that you go through or something that you help them with?
I mean, I think if you have like some self-awareness, you kind of realize like I'm not good at this, or when it's sucking your joy, if you're like, I
Mm,
hate this, that's probably like a pretty good sign that, you know what, there's got to be an easier or a better way to do this. And so I think it's just the awareness. I also think like invest in your business, get a coach, get somebody who is a chapter ahead of you, at least one chapter ahead of you. And because like with me, it's interesting because people will hire me and they'll say, I want, and they'll hire me for like 3 or 6 months, depending, a year, whatever. And they say to me, I want my business to look like your business. And I say, I've been doing this for 15 years. Like that's not realistic. I mean, I can get you moving in this direction, but I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years. Like the skill sets that I've learned have taken me 15 years. I didn't just wake up one day and I have them. Like I had to work for them. But I think like having a mentor or a business coach it's just so like essential. Like I think you have to have somebody who's done it before you, for the simple fact of like it's an investment. Either you're investing your money or your time. Both are so valuable. So I think like it's really important to like recognize like, okay, something's like not
mm.
working. Something isn't working here because
I,
I
I
I'm
think
gonna quit.
I think you're so right with that. And I think it's even worse than what you're saying because, as a business coach or consultant, somebody will come in and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, it's $40,000 to do this," and I'm like,
Mm,
"Okay, but you're gonna pay for it financially either way. You don't
yeah,
understand.
yeah,
You're going to pay more than $40,000 and you're gonna lose the time by not
yeah,
investing this because you're going to be out more money from the mistakes you're gonna make."
yeah,
Or
100.
you can pay me financially, you can pay me, and you can save yourself a lot of time and heartache to learn what I've already learned and paid for.
Yeah, yeah,
And I totally, I did that when I hired my business coaches. And yes, I have business coaches,
yeah,
and I do that to help other people as well. And it is not a sales pitch, it's simply the truth.
yeah, yeah. Well, and this is something I say, I'm really big on like time management and being intentional with your time. It's minutes add up to hours. And so, if you're doing something repetitively over and over and over, and you're like, oh, like this isn't a big deal, it only takes this much time. No, really, like over like a year span, like how much time are we really wasting in our business? The other thing that I was going to say about systems and businesses is I say there's two reasons why like businesses fail. It's either they don't grow fast enough or they grow too fast and they lose the integrity. And we see that too, where people don't have these systems and automations and these different funnels in place, and they don't have good quality service, where it is like, how many times have we given somebody our money and then it's like crickets? We don't hear. They're like, that was a horrible experience. Like they were not there for me. There was no communication, and so it's really important to recognize like that you need systems, you need funnels, you need automations, you need all of these things in your business to scale and grow. You can't do it without those things. It's just,
I've also seen a lot of entrepreneurs who rely too heavily on only having automations, and then there's no personal touch as well. Like they
yeah,
want to automate everything to the point where it's totally digital. And you're like,
yeah,
yeah, that's good, but you also want to have some sort of touch point customer service
yeah,
wise.
yeah,
I do experience more of the front end of what you're talking about though, where we live in a society where people want things now. So if you
yeah,
don't have that automated email that gets sent out immediately with their login information, then you've
yeah,
missed. If you don't have that automated text message that says, thanks for your purchase, welcome to the organization or whatever, you're
yeah,
missing out. And that should be set up beforehand, obviously.
yeah,
So
yeah.
let's talk about that for a minute, because I know you like talking about why funnels are so important. And I want to go into, the mistakes people make, because I really want to make sure they're getting value out of listening to this podcast. So tell me
Yeah.
why funnels are important and what you've learned from that.
Well, just touching on what you just mentioned about the personal touch, I think too that there's two types of like funnels or like offers in your business: low touch, low price.
Mm,
Meaning, if you're buying a product for say $47, right? Like you don't have these expectations where you need me to like reach out and like walk you through the steps. If I have a high ticket, a high price, then it's high touch. You need to be giving that type of like service and communication. So like I do have funnels built, like post purchase funnels after somebody buys maybe a cheaper product. But for my high touch, high price, it's a supplement.
mm,
It is not me. Like I am my brand, I am the experience. And when somebody is paying me and investing a lot of money, I'm going to give them like the VIP. I'm going to give them my time. And so I think that's just something to remember. And sometimes businesses get too big and they lose that personal touch, but they also start to lose their integrity, and it's hard on a brand. Like it affects a brand after a while if you just feel like people just are taking your money. So,
yeah.
um,
Well, this is
so
my
yeah,
theory on that, and tell me if you agree or disagree, or what your thoughts are on this. But what you mentioned earlier, which is what most people do, they start a business and they see how big they can grow it.
yeah,
And I really feel like that is how the systems or the business really crumbles, because it's like going to build a house and you build your first level and without the thought or the blueprint of we're going to make it a 3-story house. It's like they build a first level and they go, "Oh, let's see if we can add a second level. And let's see if we can add a third level." And then it just crumbles because they don't have the
yeah,
basics put in place, the mission, the vision, the values, the onboarding process for hiring, the offloading process, and holding all these standards in place. Is that something that you've experienced like that? Is that what you think why most businesses do crumble, because they don't really have the foresight of where they're headed?
yeah, yeah. I'll give you a story because I love it. I love a good story. But so during COVID, we were in Texas and we decided that we were going to put a pool in. And so we met with a bunch of different pool companies, like 4 or 5. We're getting quotes. And the one that we ended up choosing, they had like great, like they came in polos, very professional, something that I look for, and very organized. They came with a branded binder to leave with us with all the information. And it was really great. And so not only did they come in at a great price, they came in professional. So we hired this company, and in their defense, I will say they were bombarded because everybody was putting in pools during
Mm,
COVID. So they come, and so I'm like, okay, the intro, the beginning was like spot on, so good, so professional. And I even told the owner that I was working with, because it was a smaller company, like, super impressed. I'm a business coach. I tend to like business coach people even when they don't want to be business coach. But so I'm telling
Well,
him
of
like,
course,
great job.
that's your expertise. That's what
Yes,
you see all day long. Right? You're
yeah,
like, ooh,
yeah,
wow, this is
yeah.
really
I was
great.
like, good job. Like, so, but then they started to come and put in our pool. They give us a timeline, all these things. And then they are, like, they're putting it in, and then there's no communication, none. Like, they gave us a timeline, and then so we didn't know when people were going to show up. We didn't know, we didn't really know anything. And so, so then I was like, okay, well, when is it going to be done? You told us this time, and it's not really lining up with the timeline. So what? And or they would have contractors come, they would leave like their trash, all these things. And so I'm like, I'm okay with that for a day or two, but 4 or 5 days, like, okay, but no communication. So then I started, the middle was kind of like iffy, and I was like really getting frustrated. This company had no automation set up, no communication set up. I was even their payment wasn't set up. Like, we were having to like write a check, and I understand the first one, the big deposit, but nothing like that. So fast forward, I was really frustrated by the end, because there was no communication.
Mhm.
And so I'm getting really frustrated with him. The pool was great. I mean, they did an excellent job on the pool. The experience was not good for me.
Right.
So our pool's finished, it's done, right? Then, like, I think like 2 or 3 weeks after our pool, Texas has its biannual freeze that we don't get cold in Texas. And our pool, like, it freezes, right? And a pipe breaks, and our pool's broken. And I wasn't mad, and I wasn't mad. It wasn't the pool company's fault that it froze and broke, but they could have prevented it if he would have had an email list, and how to care for your, like, if he had these automations, or like
Mhm.
had us on an email list, he could have easily have like shot out an email when they knew the freeze was coming, and say, hey, to prevent blah blah blah. So then it freezes, and again, we're in during COVID, supply chain. We could not use our pool for like 2 months, because we were waiting for this one part to get fixed. So it's broken, and it's like a month after it's broken. And so the pool's been completed for a while, and he wants to come over and pick up his check. We owed him $10,000. And I was really irritated with the whole experience, because I'm like, okay, I know this isn't your fault, but this could have been prevented, And so
Yeah,
they did a
customer
great,
service side, yeah, adding how can you add value to your
yeah,
customer even after the initial sale? And I think that's a pretty common
yeah,
issue in a lot of businesses. It's like they get you to sign the paperwork, and once you're signed on, oh, you're a customer now. It's like
yeah,
they're so focused on the front end of getting new customers that they
yeah,
forget to take care of their current customers.
yeah,
And that's kind of funny because there's
yeah,
really only three ways to grow a business: get new customers, get your repeat customers to come back more often, and charge more money. I mean,
yeah,
those are the 3 ways, and if you only
yeah,
focus on new, well, then
yeah,
your customer experience falls off and you're losing a lot of money there. But what was
yeah.
the end of that? I mean,
I mean,
did
so it was fine. I mean, we finally get the part, we get it fixed after like 2 months. It was really frustrating. But then the moral of the story is, then people are asking, who did your pool? And I was like, I don't know if I would recommend them, because, and it wasn't that the pool wasn't done well. It was just bad communication. It was the
process,
customer
yeah,
experience that wasn't good. And so that's why, like, having these systems, these automations, that's what I call a post-purchase funnel. So, for example, if there would have been a funnel set up where it was, okay, thank you for this, and this is what to expect, and you can set up these automated emails or any communication. You can do text messages where it's like, okay, between the second and third week, this is what to expect. You know what I mean? And then the offboarding. Okay, now it's done. These are things that you can do to keep your pool good. You know what I mean? So
mhm,
that's what I call a post purchase funnel. And that's kind of what you said. That's where we get our return business. That's where we get our free marketing,
referrals,
is
yeah,
word of mouth and creating a good experience. And a lot of times people don't even care. They can remember the product or service, but they remember how you made them feel. They remember the experience.
of
So
course.
that's really important. Then we're talking, if we go backwards and we're doing front end funnels, it is getting people in your funnel, and your audience probably understands what a funnel is. It's any point of contact. That's how they're in your funnel and then at the end of the funnel is they purchase from you. So that's kind of a funnel. So, it's really important to like, you have to nurture people. And we are like inundated right now with so much like information between social media and email and
Well, and
podcasts.
so many
So much.
fakers out there too that really don't know what they're doing, and that yet they
Yeah.
might be able to make a nice looking landing page or funnel and get
Yeah.
you to sign up for something, but then it's not actual, they're not
Yeah.
going to follow through and get you the result.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think one of the things, a big mistake I see entrepreneurs do, and this is my soapbox, is you have to have an email list. You have to get people on your email list. It is the only thing that you will own, because a lot of entrepreneurs, their default is social media because they're probably already on it. It's easy. There's that like instant gratification, but it's too unpredictable and you don't own it. And your social media can be gone tomorrow. And lots of people have
And that's
lost.
happened to a lot of
Oh,
people,
yeah.
a lot. Yeah. I knew a guy that had almost 500,000 followers and it just went away.
Yeah, gone. Yeah. And if we're looking, here's the numbers in me, like if we're looking at analytics too, like the average open rate of email is 30 to 50%. Like that is an average open rate of, I mean, every industry is different, but just across the board, 30 to 50 like percent, right? So if you have an email list of 10,000 people, you're talking anywhere between 3 to 5,000 people are opening your email. And that's just what it is. You can have the same amount, 10,000 on like say Instagram. The reaches are like nothing. They're like two to
Point
five
one.
percent.
It's like
Yeah, they're like, they're
0.1%,
nothing.
yeah, of organic reach, unless you retarget and actually
Yeah.
pay to get your people to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So just with that alone, it's right there. It speaks volumes about like marketing is getting in front of people and becoming memorable. And you have to grow there's lots of like elements to like a funnel. It's like you can create a really good funnel and that's awesome. You have to drive traffic too. So it's like you have to have traffic, you have to have funnel, you have to have like a good offer. And marketing, and that's what being a business owner is. And marketing is just testing. Like, but you have to have traffic. You can't drive traffic and no funnel. You can't have a funnel and no traffic. So it's, potato, I guess, right there. But you have to have those funnels, and those funnels are like nurturing them, and you can nurture them in a bunch of different ways, but email marketing is for right now is one of the most effective ways to do it. I don't know if there's anything more effective right now. I
As long
mean,
as you get a list of people that
yeah,
are in your that actually want your service or product, or they're your niche. Because
yeah,
I know a lot of people that will go out and they'll purchase email lists and they're like, my open rate's so low, or my unsubscribe rate is so high. I'm like, because you didn't actually earn those
yeah,
emails.
yeah,
Those people are they were scraped from somewhere. They were just you purchased them. Like,
yeah.
that's not going to be what you want. What you want is to build an audience by providing high value.
Yeah, yeah. And when you buy, it's cheating. A little bit, it's a little cheating in my opinion, and it bites you in the butt. Like you don't get a return on that, in my opinion, because you have to build that know, like, and trust factor. And and you want people to want to work with you. And like I just feel like I'm not opposed to doing ads, but I feel like a lot of times when you buy stuff, it's hard. I mean, I always think of anytime I will get an email in my inbox and I'm like, who's this person trying to sell to me? I have no idea who it is. So
Right.
clearly they did not do a good job. Either they got my email somewhere, or maybe I opted into something, but they didn't do a good job nurturing me. So I don't know who they are. And that's what marketing is becoming memorable, because we say, like, oh, I need a pool guy. Okay, who was that one pool guy? I don't know. Like, and it's crazy now, and I'm not even really that old, but I do have a horrible, like, my memory. The older I get, my memory is bad. But it's interesting because now we're talking about this pool company, and I put it in. I mean, it wasn't even maybe whenever COVID was, 5 or 6 years ago, whatever. I can't even tell you his name. But if I was on an email list, and it was popping up in my inbox, whether I open those emails or not, I would remember them.
Well,
And
it's
that's another,
interesting because if you just
another
take that pool example, if you just take your pool example, right? And you say, there's got to be maintenance on that pool.
yeah, yeah,
So that pool company could be providing an automated email to
Hmm.
their list saying, hey, if your pool is X amount of years old, here's the things to look out for.
Yeah.
And they could also sell the products or services that would maintain that pool, which would be a
Yeah.
big add-on, bolt-on type of service that they could do, or products that they could sell strictly to the people that already bought from them, which would probably increase their revenue by a good 20%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and basically what you're talking about is what is a product suite, is adding more things to whatever your initial is. So people start with this initial product. Like for example, mine is coaching, right? So I'm only one person, right? And there's only a certain amount of hours in the day. So how do I scale that? I need to, there's a couple ways to do it. I could raise my prices, but eventually I'll probably cap out, right? But it's like, what can I create that is more of like a passive? There's no such thing as passive income, because at some point you have to put effort in it, but there's some that's less passive. So things that I have done to create more in my product suite is those upsells or downsells, exactly what you're talking about. And that is, hey, we did one-on-one coaching. Well, I have a business membership that is at a lower cost, and it's just like more of a maintenance thing. Or, hey, I have this digital course that teaches you this certain like skill set. And so it's creating those. But going back a little bit, if you don't have automations and systems, you have no time to grow a product suite, because you're just spinning, your wheels are just spinning all the time. And so when we have those automations and systems in our business, it gives us freedom to create more income. And so that's why they're so important to create these funnels in your business, because that's how you scale, that's how you grow.
So, what are some examples of funnels? And then, what company or online service would you use to create funnels if other people are listening to this going, yes, this makes sense to me? So, what company would you recommend, or companies? And then, what funnels do you generally recommend for products or services that people are
Yeah.
purchasing?
Okay, so funnels that I currently have is I have a lot of like organic stuff out there. You got to drive traffic. And so different things that I have funnels for is, freebies like lead magnets, and so for example, one that I have is I have a group called not a group, a digital course called Grow Your Group, How to Grow Your Facebook Group. And so I have a freebie. My freebie is 50 free viral posts in Canva. They can customize, right? So that's a freebie that I have, and I've run ads to that one, and they download it. And then the funnel is, and this is kind of my rule of thumb that I do, is they receive the freebie, whatever it is. Then the next email that I send, and I usually do a day or two apart, is about me. It always includes a picture because I want them to build that visual connection. And then it's value email, value email, value email, value email, and then I sell. And so I'm creating that, and they don't even always buy after, when I start to sell, then they go into my main email list, and I'm still nurturing them. I'm still creating value. And then I'll sell. Like, I send a weekly email out, and my strategy with that is, value value offer, like and rinse and repeat. So I'm creating value, but I'm selling to them. If you want more sales, you have to sell. You have to make offers. And so that's an example of one of my many funnels. And then that's the funnel, but then I have to drive traffic. That one I'm doing paid ads for, and that's where I get the traffic. But I do a lot, like I have a course on how to build email funnels. And so my social media content is a lot of, do you want to build funnels? Comment the word funnel, and I'll send you my high converting sales funnel guide. And then they download it. And then they're in my nurture sequence, where it is about me, like delivery, about me, value, 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 offer. And so those are just some examples of doing that. But I'm constantly working on traffic, whether I'm blogging is this a way to drive traffic to your website. I post stuff on Pinterest. I have a podcast. I'm posting on social media. That's the traffic part. You have to have traffic to get into those funnels. Okay, so then the other question was, what do I recommend? I'm really big on the automation of the onboarding automation. That's one of the very first things that I automate when I'm working one-on-one with my clients, is automating that. So it's depending on depending on the product or the service, but say somebody, I'm just going to go with one-on-one coaching. It's a consultation, and I try to like close the sale on a consultation. Then I follow up with, hey, here's a welcome packet. If you're ready to go, here's all the information. That is the only email that I send. That email that I manually send. And then, because I like to make it personalized, it was great talking to you. I talk about something like a personal, the connection. Here's the welcome guide. Once they pay, then there's an automation that will send them a receipt. Then they get an automated email that is an intake form. They fill out the intake form. Then they get another email that's, this is how to communicate with me, and gives them the information. And then another email, this is how you schedule your sessions. Like, and then the rest of them are just like either content informative or just checking up. And then I offboard them. So then if it's like a 3-month or 6-month, I schedule the automations to go out at the appropriate time. Near the end of that, like the working together, I try to upsell them. Hey, do you want to sign up for another, like, another set of coaching, another few months? And then I also ask them for a review. That's something that we sometimes like forget until we need a review, or, and then I'm like, hey, I would love a review, blah, blah, blah. And I send that. This is all automation. This is a high ticket, high touch. I'm still communicating with them and emailing them and, Voxering or Marco Poloing them like throughout this whole experience. But these are like safety nets. These are the things that we get busy and we forget about. But that's one of the very first things that I do, because I think the integrity of your business and the communication is just so important, and just starting off on the right foot. So
yeah, communication is key. Now, is there a specific funnel organization that you like to use, like some products or service?
I will tell you, I use like a combination. I think that we're in this, like, right now in business, there's a program for everything. You need to have this, you need to have this. So what I use, and it depends on your business, because a lot of businesses have specific CRMs that are specific for their industry, right?
Mhm.
But I use kind of a combination of stuff. So my email marketing is, I use Flowdesk, and I love Flowdesk. I am a visual snob, I can admit it, because I love photography and graphic design. And I actually have a coupon code that I can send you too for that. But Flowdesk is the email marketing that I use. And then I use Airtable, and I use the free one, and I use Zapier. And so Zapier is a program that it talks to different programs and connects different programs. So you can set up a Zapier where it's like, once this payment is received, then add them to my Flowdesk email. And so it kind of communicates between all the different programs. So, I mean, there's a bunch that I use, but I would say those are probably my top 3. Is Airtable, which is like a database. Airtable, Zapier, and Flowdesk are a combination of those is what I use for like my funnels.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So, and people like, we talked about this beforehand, but people don't realize, because I've been doing online business now for 4 or 5 years as well. And people don't realize that this takes time to understand and cultivate and really be able to put these things into place. So the fact that you can rattle them off, people are probably like, whoa, my head's spinning. Well, that's years of understanding. The simplest portion is we break it down into 3 steps: flow, conversion, retention. You have to have flow, which is get attention, flow people to you, flow leads to you, convert them, meaning get them in your database and start converting them through email automation, which is what you're talking about. But retention, I think, is the one that gets overlooked. And that's really making sure people have a great experience from beginning to end with your company and get the result that they're after. And you can do funnels for each and every one of those: pre-purchase, post-purchase, referral funnels, value add funnels or nurture funnels, freebie funnels, lead magnet funnels. So really, really love all that content and that information. I'm going to have all of your information below. Like always, people know that they can find your social media tags as well as your website. So guys, click below and make sure you're also sharing this out. We don't charge for this. We don't do ads for this, simply because we want to be able to give you the most value in the shortest amount of time. So share this with other people that you know that it might help. That's how you can help us help you. And also comment down below. This is on YouTube. This is clips of this are going to be on Instagram and TikTok and all sorts of different platforms. So make sure you comment and let us know what you think, how you're implementing this stuff and the results you're getting, because that's what this is all about. This is why we put these systems together to try to help more and more people. So, Brittni, any final thoughts that you'd like to say? I mean, anything that you could take your 15 plus career and culminate it down into like a couple snippets that people could
Sure.
take away?
Yeah, I think don't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. That's one. And then I think that there's no easy button. It's really like about consistency and hustling and grinding. And I often say if you're hearing like business coaches or people that help with business, if they're saying to you, hey, you can have all the success and you're not working and you don't have to work, you don't have to do anything to get there, they're probably not a good business coach. They're probably a better scammer. So, like it's you got to put in the work. You have to learn. You have to invest time, you have to invest money in order to have success. It isn't easy. There's parts that get easier as you learn, but it's really about consistently like showing up, being able to fail and keep going. So,
I love what you just said, because that is the most common trap I have found in the digital age, the social media age, is that people think that they're going to get this massive result from very little effort. And trying to do that is literally like trying to plant a seed in the ground and then telling it to grow faster.
yeah.
It's that's not the way it works. So I love the final comments there. And don't compare. Yeah, we have people all the time. They're like, "I want to be like Alex Hormozy." I'm like, "Well, you need to go through the pain that he went through and all the crap that he
Yeah.
went through of learning all the stuff that he learned then." And that's going
Yeah.
to take a lot of time. So, everybody, sure, you want $100 million net worth? Great. You got to
Yeah.
become someone that understands how to be $100 million net worth.
Yeah.
So really great takeaways, Brittni. Thank you so much for being on the Fix Your BS podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody, make sure you share this out. That's how we reach more people. As you know, we are trying to help you develop the best life, your dream life on your terms in the 5 major pillars: relationships, business, health, belief, and your career as well. So thank you for being here, Brittni. Really appreciate it. Everybody, click on her link. Make sure you like all of her stuff. It is amazing. That's why we invited her to be on here. If you want to be a guest, all you have to do is comment below as well. Or if you know somebody that'd like to be a guest, and we will send you the application process. We don't accept everybody, but we might accept you. Until next time, I'm Dr. Greg Persley with Fix Your BS, where we build your life on your terms. Thank you. Stop that. Boom.